I'm James Wedmore, and with 17 years online, I've built my business to over $12 million in sales per year. And this is the first non-business business podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of spirituality, energy, and mindset to grow your business beyond your wildest dreams, all from the inside out. This is the Mind Your Business podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my favorite segment of the week, the Wednesday Weekly Win, where each week I interview a new digital CEO and unpack their success so that you can be inspired in your own business. And today I have Joanna Tringali with me. Joanna, say hello to everyone.
Hey, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Joanna has some really amazing results. So, Joanna, why don't we just kick off by you telling everyone who you serve and what you do?
I'm actually a massage therapist and esthetician here in New York City, but I specialize in a particular type of facial massage called myofascial buccal massage, which has applications in both wellness and aesthetics. So think people who have jaw pain, headaches, sinus pain, and I've ended up specializing in this, and as a result have gotten a following of actors, models, and performers who want to avoid the injectables, avoid the surgeries, because it inhibits their ability to emote and speak to their audience through emotions and through their voice. And so many of them, like many other people, are clenchers and grinders. So that's pretty prevalent nowadays. And unfortunately seems to be getting worse. It's a bigger need.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided a few years ago that I wanted to teach my approach, and that's where BBD came to the rescue.
Yeah, I love this as an example of a unique niche that's very specific, and you've produced some incredible results. So walk me through your digital CEO journey. Like how did you land on that you wanted a digital offer? And then how did you craft the offer? Tell me all about that.
So I had a brick and mortar school previously for 17 years. And, digital was just starting to be a thing when I left it, but it was nowhere where it is now. But the idea of digital is that I could actually reach more people because I did not want to fly all over the place to teach and live out of hotel rooms. That was not what I wanted to do. I actually joined BBD in 2022, but I had so much on my plate and I did the exact wrong thing. I started from module 1, like the good student I am, and started to read through every module and just got myself completely overwhelmed. Mixed that with all the projects on my plate because I wasn't focused. And so I gave up. And then 2023, Rise of the Digital CEO came around again. Even though I was enrolled in BBD, I think many of us like to sit through it again and again to watch James do his thing.
I enjoy it. I've seen it 5 times.
Yeah. And I just get so much more because, I went to business school, I ran businesses, but somehow the way James explains it, it's on a whole different level. I don't think I ever really understood all the mindset things that have been tripping me up for years. And so listening to him again, I finally heard that as a digital CEO or an entrepreneur, I'm actually filling multiple roles. I was the course developer, the tech person, the copywriter, the website builder, the bookkeeper, the social media person. And I had a practice. I had people, I'm seeing. So balancing all of that, I finally heard him. And instead of going back to module 1 that June, I went to module 5, Team by Design. And I finally understood that I couldn't handle everything on my own. But I had some, stuff in my head that I'm a bad boss, that I can't manage people. But James made it really easy because all the modules are set up like a how-to. And
Mhm.
so I just did what he said to do. Like I took his job description and I made a few tweaks and I put that out there. And then I got a ton of resumes and I screened them just like he told me to screen them so that I could get the right people and test them the way he said to test them. Um, and that built my confidence. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not a bad boss at all. And I had this part-time VA for 9 months. Now I have a different one and she's full-time. And life is not the same when you have someone doing all the little things that I do them? Yeah, sure. But should I be doing them? No, because I have more important things to do in terms of what does the business need? What do my students need from me? That's where my focus needs to be.
Mhm. Absolutely. I love that. I love that you said I did it the exact wrong way. Because everyone, people approach digital courses like a regular course where you start with chapter one and you read the textbook, and then at the end there's a test. And Business by Design, James always jokes with us and our team, like, it's not a course. Don't call it a course. It is an instruction manual. And then when you apply it the way that it's designed, where you just go, where am I at? What do I need? I'm going to skip to this module. Then you can get the results so much quicker. So tell me about, what was the first offer that you put out?
Well, it was funny because even though I wanted to do a digital offer, I still had like stuff in my head. So I said, all right, let me go and teach this in person because that's where my experience is. So because I didn't have the marketing really behind me, um, my first offer in person, I had one student. I was like, all
Okay.
right, well, fine, I'm going to do it. Well, the day before, unfortunately, I had to put my dog to sleep. And so
No.
my husband's talking to me and saying, are you going to do this? And I was thinking about it and I said, you know what? She had faith in me to sign up. I need to prove to myself that I can do this come hell or high water. And I did it. And it was tough, but because I proved to myself that I could take that small step,
Hmm.
um, I got there. And then the very next thing was, okay, this has to go online. So very quickly after that, early 2024, I was struggling. I had the offer, but I was struggling with the tech things, how to
Yes.
get a launch, getting in my head about doing a webinar. Got it all together and lost my VA like right in the middle of the launch. But the funny part is once I got on the webinar and I was interacting with my people,
Hmm.
I was having a blast.
Wow.
And I got 3 people for that offer. He talks about how to do your beta. And so I had $2,600 in sales, and I
Hmm.
was thrilled to pieces. That may not be anything that anybody else would be excited about, but for me, it was like I just put this online, and I got 3
Yes.
people to say yes,
Yes. Yeah. And
and
what
I
was
had a blast
the
with
price
them.
point? It's like, it's under 1,000.
Um, the way he structures it, he tells you to offer the beta at a discount. And
Yes.
so the original price was 15.97. I think I sold it for 8.97 and
Hmm.
got those 3 people, um, got the experience online, figured out, yeah, I actually can teach this online. And great relationships with my students. So I felt like we had our little community. So we put together a graduate Facebook group and we keep in touch. Um, and then from there, it was like, okay, there's still something that's not right. Like James teaches you to do the debrief, which is super, super valuable because you forget all the little pieces. And if
Yes.
you document that and you analyze, okay, so this went really well, this falls within the metrics, this I can improve, and you figure out, oh, yeah, maybe I didn't do so badly after all. And then he tells you to pick like 1 or 2 things, like don't change everything, which is what I normally would do.
It's all entrepreneurs do it. They're like addicted to the creation process.
Yeah, totally. And when I did it again, in September, um, I did fine. I mean, I did $10,000, but the metrics were telling me that um, I wasn't getting enough people into the webinar.
Mm-hmm.
And since I had a good conversion rate, I knew that's all I needed, but there was a disconnect between me and the person doing the Facebook ads. So the community, the coaches actually helped me, and I made the decision to go with another Facebook ads person, and it blew up my launches. So
Wow.
$37,000 for January. And because I ran out of space, like my course needs some help with scalability, but because I ran out of space in January, I quickly turned around and did another one in March, which I had not planned at the beginning of the year, and did 53,000.
Wow. Oh
So
my
the
gosh, I
total
just got
quarter,
chills.
yeah, the total quarter with the in-person and the online was 154,000 by the end of the quarter. And I just I still can't believe it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now now, when you look back at the time of period where you were in your head and you were thinking like, can I really do this? I don't know if I can figure out the tech. What would your piece of advice be if you were listening to someone, if they're listening going, Joanna, that's me. I'm totally intimidated by the tech. I don't know if I can teach it online.
First of all, James pretty much lays out the way it should be, like step by step. And if you don't want to do that yourself, the way he structures the team by design, you can find someone who will do this. Like you don't have to invest a lot of money in a full-time staff of, experts. You give it to somebody who, just like you would do. If I was doing it, I'd read the help desk, or I'd read James's material, or I'd watch YouTube videos. Let someone else do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget how much I was paying that person at the time, but she's in the Philippines, so it was like $7 an hour or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that's $7 of a couple of hours of her trying to figure that out freed me up to do what I needed to do. So
So
if
critical.
you're just saying, well, I'm not good at tech, or I don't want to do it, or I'm overwhelmed, give it to somebody else.
Yes, I think people every year we get that question in the inbox of like, well, if I'm in BBD, could I give it to a team? And James is like, yeah, give them your login and just pull the process and give it to a virtual assistant and have them set up your Kajabi portal, or have them upload your call to the webinar whenever you're done with it. And you just take that off your plate so that you can focus on being in front of your people. Did you find that uh when you were in that moment of coaching for the first time on a webinar, being like, oh, wow, maybe I overthought that I can't teach this online, that I have to be in person?
Part of it was me, but my target audience believes they can't learn online.
Oh, and yeah. Okay. Do
They're
it.
hands-on people.
Yeah.
And for them to agree to an online course, I had to make it evident in the webinar that they could actually do this.
Hmm.
And so the pieces of the webinar were built around those objections, which again, James is all about dismantling the objections, and there's obviously a sizable amount of people this year, just this first quarter, excuse me, who agreed with me and successfully went through the course, and the
Wow.
testimonials prove it.
That is that is so cool. I love this. So what's next? What are you dreaming up now? Like what's your revenue goal for the year?
For the year, the way I see it, it's going to be at least 400,000. I'm taking like a step back in second quarter. I'm still doing in-person classes. Oh, by the way, part of that March number was pre-selling June. So I already have a June class booked online.
Wait,
I'm
that's brilliant. So how are you like what's the size of a cohort and then how are you rolling them into the next launch? You have a wait list?
I do not have a wait list because I just wanted to sign them up rather than have them wait.
Yeah.
So, because the money in hand kind of makes you committed, and then I put together like an email series to keep them engaged,
Yeah.
like little pieces of the class and testimonials from students going through the current class so that they would still feel like part of things.
Yes.
The cohort, I mean, on my own, I felt I could comfortably handle like 26 students.
Okay.
But
Great.
I also got sick during that first class. I was sick for 3 weeks. I barely had a voice. And I saw the need now to train an assistant teacher. So I have the assistant teacher. She's training with me now.
Hmm.
She taught March with me. She's going to teach June with me. And then I'm using this quarter to not only train her, but scale the program, um, because I was with them 100% live. And so now I can take those lectures, I can put them into the Kajabi. We have the added pressure of a certification board. So there's a national board
Yes.
that issues CEs for my course.
Hmm.
So it's taking longer to put that together. But once I put it together, like if 100 people want to join, I don't have to make them wait 3 months. They
Yes.
can come in now. And that's what they want. They don't want to wait.
That's amazing. Okay, so you'll do 26 at a time live. And then if once that container gets full, you just go ahead and sell them into the next time we're going live is June. And
No,
they're
yeah, after June, there won't even be a cap on the container anymore
right.
because I'll have two teachers. I'll have the lectures and the demonstrations recorded, and then
Yeah,
like James does, I'll do a live portion because that's what they really respond to. So
right.
they're not losing that. They'll still have me coaching them and directing them and, helping them build their confidence, but I won't have the limits because we'll have the technology to create, rooms, breakout rooms, and
Yeah.
we'll have other teachers to help. So I don't see a limit on things. As a matter of fact, I've started the piece for one piece for my ascension model, and we're starting that in person. And so already that's filled for the summer in person, and then we're transferring it online for October.
I mean, this is so cool. I love what it really stands out to me that I think a lot of people will relate to listening. And I relate to this is like when you're staring down the barrel of I've got to put my business online, it can feel very easy to go down the overwhelmed path of all the things that have to happen in order for you to have a thriving online business. And what I love that you demonstrated so beautifully is you can start with one student. Like, I love that you were like, I'm still intimidated to do it online. I'm going to do it in person one time to prove to myself I can deliver this, I can teach this. And then you've got the beta selling to just three. And from there, you just grow it and grow it and grow it until the model of how to scale it becomes available. And I think sometimes people get in their own way because they think like all the way down like 2 years in the future of like, well, I don't know if this offer in particular is totally scalable. Don't worry about that in the beginning phase. Just get started and decide how many people you can teach to live. So for you, it's like 26 in a container. Keep selling out those containers. And then as you make more money and as you grow and as you get the testimonials, the way will reveal itself to have it be unlimited of how many people you want to have in. But then what do you think is like the favorite thing about delivering it for you as the teacher? Like what's your is it going live with your students or
Oh,
what's your
it's
thing that you love
absolutely
most?
doing live. We are, when you're a massage therapist or esthetician and you're working alone in a treatment room all day, everybody thinks it's relaxing and fun. It's lonely.
Yeah.
And so when we all get together, and I'm very opinionated, like I'm being a nice lady for you, but I'm very opinionated with my students. I'm older than all of them. I've been through all of this before, and I tell them my thoughts and opinions, and they just love hearing someone say what they're thinking.
Yes.
and who agrees with them and who makes them think about different options for their businesses. And we just have so much fun.
Yes. So I love that this is like what James really means by it's your business by design. You do the offer, and then in the delivery of the offer, you'll learn for yourself what pieces of that offer you really love delivering. And then you design the business to where eventually and gradually over time, that's where you're spending 80% of your time. So if you're reflecting on like, well, I've got to deliver the content and I got to teach them live, but what I really love is being live with them and answering their questions and offering opinions and giving them guidance. Then so over time you evolve it to where the course delivery is in a library. That's done. It works. You've done it. It's recorded. And then you get to go live with them and just have fun.
That's
That's so
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I want to back up to something you said earlier, which was you said earlier that there was a point in time where you went to the BBD community and you got coaching from the coaches. So tell me about that. Like how do you leverage the community and what kind of guidance did you get from the coaches that supported you?
Well, it's really funny because um, I grew up in a family that doesn't say its problems to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so the community was daunting for me. Um, and so there was this, I would read things and I'd be like, okay, it's safe to share. You can do this, but I would still hold back. But then when things hit the wall, I was like, okay, now I have to say something. So during my trying to get my first launch out there, um, I was saying how I was having trouble, and people would just jump in. People I really didn't know very well, but they had been through it and they were offering their advice and their support. The coaches certainly were. Um, so I've learned to rely on the community more and get over my um, my pretending I can handle this all by myself,
Mm-hmm.
because the support really pushes you forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was even afraid to do this podcast. I was I've never done a podcast before. And you know, Coach Mark, he had to say it to me many times over the last 2 years. He said, you belong where you decide to show up.
Oh,
And
oh, that just hit me in the heart.
and he always hits people in the heart. He's amazing. Um, but all the people, we have a pod. So now I actually have two pods. I have a BBD friend who lives in France, and we talk every week and help each other move our business forward. But I also have a next level pod, and we meet every other Friday, and we help each other.
Yeah.
So it's big community like Facebook group, but it's also small community with these little pods. And then, the coaching, um, coaches don't pull any punches. They're sweet and everything, but
Yeah.
they'll call you out on your own, uh, beliefs and stories about things. And
Yes.
that's been very helpful, because when you work alone and you're all in your head about stuff, you can't get past that a lot of times. You need an outsider to, really put you to the screws and say, hey, is that really true? Or
Mm-hmm.
how else can we look at this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something that I'm always touched by every year when we start talking to the Business by Design students. And I mean, I love doing these segments. I had begged James to be like, can I be the one to interview people for the podcast? Because it's so consistent. People will share all the time that the community is kind of the surprise benefit that they didn't expect from Business by Design. And I think that that's something that in the makeup of entrepreneurs, and it's sometimes I feel like I'm like a little safari field reporter watching entrepreneurs in the wild, because I don't relate to myself as having that entrepreneur personality. I'm more of a team manager. I'm always the one that's like, no, we need to do it together. I need a buddy. I need to do it with a team. And James is that personality type that's like, I'll do it all on my own. I'll do it by myself. I don't need support. I'll figure it out. And yet it can be so isolating and lonely, especially it compounded really by digital business, because not only are you alone with your laptop all day long, but when you go out into the world and people ask, what do you do? Sometimes you get these blank stares back of like, what do you mean you teach things online? What you teach things online? What do you mean by that? And so to have a space where not only you can go and ask questions, get support when you get stuck or when you're not really sure how to move forward, but also just to go into a room and say, I'm struggling with this. And then suddenly five other entrepreneurs comment back to you, oh, I've been there too, you'll be fine. Or, oh, I'm in the same spot, let's workshop it together. It's amazing uh how social the your work starts to feel. I've been blown away by that because now we live in Sedona and I work from home, and none of our friends live really in close proximity to us. And yet every day I get to be on the phone or on Facebook or doing a podcast talking to other entrepreneurs, and it blows my mind how the BBD community really gives you this broad network of friendships and relationships and coaching and support, so that you aren't just in your room creating a digital offer with all by your lonesome where people don't get it. It's really, I think it's like good for the soul to be a part of a community that's supporting you doing what you do.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm blessed to have a very supportive husband, but he doesn't know anything about putting this stuff, online. So he can be my cheerleader, but when I'm really stuck on things, um, there's a different perspective from the community that is really valuable to me.
hmm What are you most excited about in terms of this year, the future, or anything that's changing in the way that you run your day to day now that you've got these digital offers firing on all thrusters?
I still think I work too much. I do see more help on the horizon. I yesterday just hired a bookkeeper. Actually, I've been doing my
Great.
bookkeeping for years by myself, which is ridiculous. But there's more team on the horizon for me. But I never thought this would make, maybe more than 60, $75,000 a year. And I've already blown that away in first quarter. So now I'm wondering, I'm not even wondering anymore. I do see a path to more than $1 million business because of the different people that I'm attracting. I didn't think there was this many people who wanted to learn this. And it's
hmm
just they're coming out of the woodwork. They want to learn it, and they want to learn it from someone that they can be with live. They want to learn it from someone who's in the treatment room just like them. And so there's lots of possibilities, and those possibilities are coming from them because they're asking me for what they want next. That's how this whole level 2 for, my program, my ascension, just came into being, because they're like, well, we see you do this other thing online. Well, okay, well, I can teach that too. And they're asking me for very specific, conditions with people. And the biggest surprise was they also want to know more about business, how I run my business,
hmm
and like the treatment room business, because it's been very successful and they don't have those resources in quite the same way. Like all the business information in my field is pretty like standard. It hasn't changed in 30 years. And so when I just ran a beta test as a kind of like a signing bonus for the last webinar. And I said, okay, if you sign up today, open cart day, you're going to get a complimentary business strategy workshop.
Oh, cool.
And so I got to test this new business program. They loved it. They benefited from it. It was easy for me to do. I recorded it all, so it's like ready to go.
Mhm.
And now I can offer it whenever I want to. So there's just so many possibilities. I have to kind of just slow down and strategically think about what's next. I have to stop working 6 days a week and, let other people help me. So I have some growing to do, but I see all kinds of possibilities on the horizon for me, for the business, and for the people I serve.
That's incredible. I'm blown away by what you've been able to create. And I can't wait to watch the results unfold in the next year, because I think you're going to be even more blown away by the possibility of this. I love that you've just, like what you said about, I didn't know that there were so many people that want to learn this, and now they're bringing you the ideas. Like that's it, I think we just did a recap post on Instagram where we talked about the origin of Business by Design. And James didn't set out wanting to create an online business program for people. He just cracked the code for himself and took it to $2 million a year so that he could surf all the time and like work 4 hours a day. And then people started being like, excuse me, how are you doing that? And it's neat. It's like you can um I think the two places people get stuck is overthinking their niche, like overthinking, what am I going to teach? What I don't want to put myself in a box. If I start with this one offer, does that mean I'm going to be trapped into teaching that one thing for forever? And then they overthink how much energy, time, and technical knowledge it actually takes to get started. And you are such a great example of putting those two things aside and just, pick an area that you're confident you can deliver and teach. And then your niche it'll expand. The offers will grow. You'll be able to evolve it. You'll have more offers down the road that you can go in different directions if you want, but you just start with this core offer to get started. And then you don't have to overcomplicate what you're delivering in the beginning. It can be an in-person workshop that you just start with teaching to 3 people. And then once you get that underground, you can evolve that over time and make it fancier or bigger, or have a course library and live calls, whatever you want to do. But the magic is in the getting started.
And I'm just proof that really a niche offer. I mean, like, it's not like body massage, it's not facial massage, it's like the buccal region, which is the cheek. Like, it's very, very specific. And I still meant, like, it's talking to people, it's what they want. And I'm just giving them what they want, and it's narrow scope. But we're enjoying it. We're all enjoying it. The students are great. I'm, having a blast. I love my employee, my VA.
Uh-huh.
So life is good.
Listen, my VA, well, now we've put her full time in our growth team in our marketing department. But she was a VA for us for 6 years, I think, before I met her. And then she got assigned. We had James has a team of VAs. So there were 2 of them, well, 2 or 3 that we use like very regularly, and 3 that are kind of on standby. They do part-time work when we need them. And she got assigned to me as my virtual assistant. And now when we're at events, people walk up to her and they're like, "Are you Katrina?" And I'm like, she and I started working together. We developed such a strong bond that I talked James into flying her over from the Philippines for our launch. And
Nice.
now she is a full-time team member. She comes to live with us 2 times a year. She'll be here next week. And
Oh.
she's a bridesmaid in my wedding. Like,
Oh.
she and I are like obsessed with each other. We've become like best friends. It's wild. Like, you really it's just so neat. I'm so touched by what you shared about both the community that you found in Business by Design, but also look at the impact you're having on your community. That there's these massage therapists that are learning from you and feeling supported by you, and that network is expanding. What a beautiful thing to be able to take something that you've learned and mastered and then share it with other people, so that you have this like ripple effect of, now there's, look at how many practitioners there are in the world that can go out and say, I offer a way to not get injectables. Like, that's a pretty big impact, especially in New York City.
And the impact has been beyond New York, beyond my country. I mean, I have students from Japan. I have students from Lithuania. I have people from the UK. I couldn't do this if I had to fly there. The online offering has just opened up a way for me to reach, other people.
It's just absolutely amazing, Joanna. I'm so inspired by your story. What do you want to leave people with?
I want to leave people with rely on your community. If you're already a member, if you're not a member, join, because the community makes like everything so much easier. The step-by-step thing, you can't get it wrong. Just get out of your own way and follow the step-by-step and let James help you. Let the coaches help you. You really can, do this. I go back to something you said, maybe it was a year ago, because I'm a avid listener to the podcast. And you said you have to just find someone that you can help.
Yeah.
Don't get out there and try to teach, 3,000 people on the first day. Just start with someone you can help, just like I did with that one person. I had every reason to cancel her that day, having to put my dog to sleep, feeling, awful, and saying, well, I could have said it's only one student, I'll just put it off. Just help one person. And it builds your confidence, and you can see pretty quickly whether you have a viable offer, if you can help someone, and if not, what you need to do to make that actually, grow into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said. Just start with one. Where can people find you if they want to work with you?
JoannaTringali.com is my teaching site. My private practice is Calm Beauty Brooklyn. And I've also been written up in Elle magazine. So there's a nice article about me in there.
Love
about
it.
the type of work that I do, because it is definitely needed, in this world today.
Absolutely. We'll link that up in the show notes if you guys want to find Joanna. And thank you so much for being so generous with your time and your story. I know so many people are going to be impacted and inspired listening to what you've created. And I can't wait to see what the next year brings. We'll probably be back here next year doing a follow-up episode so you can tell me all your incredible new results. And if you love listening to this segment, these are my favorite segments of the week to record. This is the Wednesday Weekly Win, where every week we pick an entrepreneur from the Business by Design community, and they let me pick their brain and unpack their success so that you can be successful in your own business and replicate their results. So join me each Wednesday to hear from a different entrepreneur. Joanna, thank you so much. And listeners, thank you for listening. And we'll see you next time on the Mind Your Business podcast.